What the hell? Oh, Jesus Christ, guys, I had to grab my notebook and make some notes during that, and I want to talk about them, but I don't know if I'm going to have time before they start this. Wow. I mean, Aurora, the archipelago, first thing I thought of was Operation Flashpoint 2 Dragon Rising. Uh, I'm actually going to mute this, so if they start, I can carry on talking, but yeah, I don't know if any of you have played Operation Flashpoint 2 Dragon Rising. Um, I'm going to let them talk in the background. So, it was, well, Jesus, when was it released? Like 2003, something like that? You can probably pick it up and play it on Xbox 360 or on Xbox One as a 360 game that still plays. It was based on an island and it was playing for realism, but as I was watching the trailer initially, I think Nomad, what happened, he had that like swarm of, his helicopter was attacked by a swarm of drones, which then made me kind of think the AI sort of aspect of this whole premise for Breakpoint reminded me more of Terminator. But then we got introduced to the wolves, so they're the main protagonists for this story, this game, and the way that they've done the wolves really made me think of the Division 2. I don't know about you guys, if you've seen my videos on the Division 2 closed and open beta gameplay. I know the game is now out and I haven't bought the game and played it for real, but I played the betas and very similar look to the enemies. They've got a whole new load of enemy callouts for this game, which we didn't have. Maybe we had in Wildlands, but a lot of the enemy callouts are in Spanish. So here, where they're in English, and they're calling out things like "These guys are dead," you know, when they see the ghosts. That was very reminiscent of the Division 2 for me. Not that it's bad. I think it's great that we have the diversity in the sounds and the audio that we're hearing in the game, because to hear the same things again and again and again, it's not very original or entertaining. But is this game going to be, it looks like to me, it's going to be way more intense than Wildlands was. Wildlands, in its open world feel, for me, was quite realistic. I kind of had the impression that maybe this is going to be a little, I don't know, I kind of feel like maybe it's going to be a bit less of a realistic game. And in that respect, I'm a little bit concerned that it might lose some of what Wildlands had in terms of realism and enjoyment, certainly for me. But they have listened to the fans. They've obviously been working on this for a while. So Wildlands came out on 7th of March 2017. This is now 2019, and they're saying this is going to be released on the 4th of October this year? I mean, they're saying pre-orders are available, so I'm guessing this year. That's less than 3 years since Wildlands. Now, Wildlands has clearly been wildly popular. I mean, compared to other games, maybe not so much, but for Ubisoft, a massively popular game. And they said that Wildlands was... they started development on that 7 years ago, and it was released 2 years ago now, so that was 5 years of development, but that was with 30 devs. They now have over 1,000 devs, and they've clearly taken a lot of inspiration from what was popular and what was really good about Wildlands, listened to the community, added in a whole load of new stuff, which I'll go through in a minute. Just to recap what they said, but they must have been really wanting to crank another title out quickly, because I was expecting another Ghost Recon game in, sorry, that's me in my notepad, like, I don't know, 2021 maybe, at the earliest. But who knows? Let's see. We'll see more as alphas and betas come out, I guess. Maybe if you're going to pre-order the game, I certainly am. You know I am. We will get to play the betas. There were little bits of that, seeing that, watching Nomad as we saw the gameplay, the alpha gameplay, that sort of reminded me a bit of Red Dead Redemption 2. Maybe not as polished as Red Dead Redemption 2, but as he moved through the mud, for example, you could see him sort of carving his way through it. This was alpha gameplay, so, let's forgive some of the crudity of the detail, but there was definitely detail there. So crawling through the mud, he was sort of carving his way through it, and leaving that behind. Some of the ways that Nomad was now moving, definitely compared to Wildlands, where he would slip down the slopes, vault over things, move, react to being shot, spin around, aiming his gun, all these kinds of things. Much more Rockstar. Much more what we've seen in Red Dead Redemption 2 than we've ever seen from Ubisoft before, that I can recollect certainly. But I mean, tell me in the comments if you disagree or if you think that they've been doing this for a while, but I think that was a lot more polished and a lot more detailed than we've seen in Wildlands. Speaking of that, I mean, the graphics, we didn't really get to tell, certainly not from the quality that I saw on the screen, and certainly not from what you'll see in the recording of what I saw on screen right now if you're watching this video. I didn't get to tell the quality of the graphics at this stage from that stream. Bear in mind, it was a stream. Bear in mind, it was an alpha. But it looked good. It looked really good. I saw really nice lighting in there. I saw some fantastic textures. Wildlands was really nice. It looks like they've made this one even more detailed and even nicer, and I'm sure we'll get more details of that as those come out. But I do just wonder if they're releasing this too soon. I have no idea whether they're going to be able to make sure that it's really polished, really nice. We'll see. We'll see. I am liking some of those new features though, you know, the interactive environment a bit more, and those kinds of things. Did anyone else feel like it was like Arnie and the Predator when he was in the mud and he had the prone camo you could put on that mud? Is anyone else getting that? I mean, I'm making a load of movie references here, but that was quite cool. And they intimated there, I mean, they only showed the mud, but they mentioned it again a bit later when they said you can go prone and make use of your environment as camo, kind of intimating that you can do this in other environments, maybe in water, in grass, or in snow, certainly. Maybe not in lava, but we'll come on to that again in a second. What they're showing here in the background, I'm assuming, is they're telling us that they've mocapped the way real people move to do these kind of military actions, to pick up a person or to roll out of a scenario with a weapon, for example. They've obviously done their homework, and it's really nice to see some of this behind the scenes dev stuff. Again, going back to Operation Flashpoint 2, they released some videos similar to this where they explained how they captured the sounds. They even did like the timing of how long it takes to do a realistic reload. They went into a lot of detail for that game, and it looks like they're doing the same sort of thing here, which is really cool. Picking up on some more of the new features, things like I'm really encouraged to see, and this will all have come from community feedback, things like we saw that you could move your teammates before you heal them, so you're not stuck healing them where they drop, which was a big pain in the ass. 'Cause if someone dropped in the middle of a firefight, you were screwed. I mean, what are you going to do? You kind of had to take advantage of the game mechanics and leave them be, and you know, if you were in single player, let them respawn again or something like that. But now we can, you know, move them out of trouble before we start doing anything. There was also cover with smoke, which was cool. This bit that they're showing here, breaching the fence, I really like that. That was a nice little touch. But we've got, you know, we can move enemies now as well, which I think is really good. They said about remaining undetected. They mentioned this, but they didn't show it, that you'd be able to move enemies out of sight. I like that as well. That's really good, because that frustrated me a little bit, and I'd forgotten, but it did frustrate me early on when I played Wildlands. If I take someone down silently, they can still be discovered, and it still gives me away, which is really annoying. When I could move bodies in Assassin's Creed, and I've been able to do that for ages, Ubisoft, what were you playing at? But now they've fixed it. I like that. I'm wondering about this environment, though, the archipelago that we're going to play on, Aroa. I need to get used to saying this. It's a bit of a weird name. Aroa. So it's an archipelago of islands, which they've definitely made into the shape of the Ghost Recon skull. The eyes and the nose, right? That's definitely a thing. I'm pretty sure these islands are in the shape of the skulls features. Anyway, again, coming back to Operation Flashpoint, that was based on an archipelago as well. It very clearly defines the boundaries of the game when you can only play on the islands that they provided you. Clever, but when they said they're going to have... Did I make a note of all of this? No, I didn't. But they said volcanoes, snow, mountains, beaches, jungles, all these different playing environments, some of which we saw in Wildlands, which was fantastic. And that was a large area. But I'm thinking, how big is this damn archipelago? I mean, it's just islands. How is it possible to fit in snowy mountains and volcanoes and beaches and jungles into one? A little bit unrealistic? I don't know. Maybe it's going to be huge. We'll see. I mean, if I was listening to what they were talking about, maybe they'd be telling us that... I mean, not right now. They're obviously talking about player customization and the details of the players. But maybe they'd be telling us that this is now the biggest open world game that Ubisoft's ever developed. I'm sure it probably is. I think Assassin's Creed Syndicate was the largest when they released that. That was London. Wildlands surpassed that in its size, and this Breakpoint undoubtedly will be bigger than Wildlands, but we'll find out. It's cool. That did just make me think, though. How have they crammed all this stuff in? We've got more weapons. They're talking about things like... I mean, they showed us things like rocket launchers, the knives, the karambit that they had there. Fantastic. Everyone that plays Ghost Recon enjoys weapons. They enjoy the weapon customization, the gunsmith. I certainly do. If you've seen any of my Ghost Recon videos, you'll know that I went into reasonable depth on that when the game was out, and I really enjoyed that. And I'm glad that that's back. You will all be glad that that's back, but they're saying you can do even more in it, which is fantastic. We're going to find out what. We don't know, but it's going to be good. So then they talked about some of the new things. They came out of the gameplay and they told us that we're going to have a new story. That's obvious. We've got more enemies. The enemies have got better AI. They react differently. They're going to patrol constantly. They're going to react to group up and come back and fight you and things like that, which is good. I think in Wildlands the enemies were very predictable. I remember, I can kind of recollect, I didn't think of it until now, but I'm pretty sure when they were talking about the beta of Wildlands, they were showing us that, you know, the enemy AI was kind of smart. If you're shooting at them, they'll duck for cover and things like that. They'll try and circle around and get you. Sure, they do, but in a kind of predictable way. It didn't feel fluid, I suppose. Now I reflect on it. And exploiting that when you understand how the game works is part of what makes you a good player. If you can identify how the enemies are going to move, anticipate what their reactions are going to be, you know, you can go into a scenario better prepared. Even if you're outgunned or something surprises you, it's not that much of a surprise. But we talked about the weapons and the gunsmiths as well. They mentioned that again. They said there were going to be more... what do we call them? Guns and accessories, that's the word. Accessories for the guns in the gunsmith, which are going to have a greater impact on the stats. Interesting. I may have more to talk about when I create videos for that. We're going to have more vehicles. Obviously, that's fantastic. I guess there's going to be automated vehicles in the game. Of course, it's all drone and near future based. We've got some other new vehicles for, did he say land, sea and air as well, I think, which is great. We have solo, we have 4-player co-op, and we have PvP at launch, which is a bit of an improvement on Wildlands, where they told us there was going to be PvP and that it would be out after launch. I think everyone was enjoying playing the single player for a bit, but people soon got antsy for the PvP, and it took, I think, until November for it to come out, something like 6 months. And it was delayed, and it was delayed, and it was delayed, and that wasn't a great experience for the community. I think people have kind of forgotten about it. I mean, with the exception of me reminding some of you now, but people are kind of forgiven or forgotten. But this is going to be at launch. They've said it's going to be at launch. It's going to be at launch. The other thing is, through those different scenarios, whether it's solo or PvP or whatever, apparently you're going to keep the same character. You're going to have the same weapons, same skills, same progression. That's really good. And I'm pretty certain, I think I missed the detail, but I'm pretty sure the guy said there's going to be DLC every 4 months, I think he said. Pretty sure that's what he said. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a good game. I'm definitely going to pre-order it. I'm definitely going to play it. I'm definitely excited for it. And I was wondering what the next game beyond Red Dead Redemption 2 was going to be for me. Jesus, I'm still playing through that, and I'm still yet to finish the story, let alone create all the other videos that I have a huge list for. But I will get those done. October is not that far away, I guess, guys. We're in May. Jesus. But yeah, I'm glad I've got another game to look forward to, and this is going to be fantastic. I know I'm going to enjoy it, despite the fact that I'm sure I'll find things wrong with it, but who doesn't? You know, no game's perfect yet. Interesting, one last point I noted was that they've clearly gone for a diverse group of ghosts. We've got the fire team of 4 ghosts. I think they call it a squad. But I'm pretty sure a squad is more than 4 in military parlance. But nevertheless, 4 ghosts who are Nomad, who's a white male lead. We've got a female character, we have an Asian character, and we have a black character. So they mixed it up. They've clearly forced the diversity in there, which is no bad thing, but they chose the white male for the lead. It's a fictional game. They could have done anything. But there we are. Who knows, maybe by launch we'll be able to pick which of the ghosts is going to be our lead. They did mention something else before I finish up, guys, about, I didn't make a note of it, but they were talking about, I think it was releasing different character classes. Yes, character classes. They said you'll be able to switch character classes. You'll be able to do that in the bivouac. I'm just going from memory now because I know I didn't note this down. Switch character classes, do that at the bivouac, and they will be releasing new character classes as the game progresses as well. And you'll start with the 4. I assume it's the 4 that you begin with there. So maybe it's a case that you pick your character, of course, as the lead for the ghosts in your narrative. But for what they've provided here, it's Nomad again. And Nomad is a character we've seen before in Wildlands, so cool. I like the narration by John Bernthal again, introduced in Operation Oracle recently for this FMV at the end. Fantastic. I like that launch trailer. It's looking good. I'm pumped. I cannot wait for this game, guys. This is going to be so good. I think I've pretty much sucked everything there is out of Wildlands. That's why I don't really play it that much. I know there's daily challenges, but oh god, they're just rehashes of the challenges that we used to have weekly. So yeah, with the exception of PvP, I really haven't touched PvP, but that's because I'm kind of being honest with myself. I know I don't have the time for that. But anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found my narration valuable or useful. I'm interested to understand or hear from you guys what you think. You pumped? You interested? You gonna pre-order this? If there's a gold edition, I'm gonna be getting the gold edition, as I did with Wildlands, because I did not regret that one bit. And yeah, this is gonna be cool. This is gonna be very cool. I'm really glad that they've listened to the community. I think in the 2 years that we've had Wildlands, that's definitely been a positive. They definitely have listened to the community, and it's gonna be good. Guys, leave your comments below. Please tell me what you think. If you've enjoyed this, please leave a like. If not, constructive comments are also always welcome. Don't forget to don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't done so already, I will be covering anything I can on Breakpoint. Almost forgot the name of it. Yeah, anything that comes up over the next few months, I'll be covering it. I'm going to put all this information together as well in a blog post on my website, lightwaveowl.com. I'm sure they already have most of this on their own blog post, but that'll be useful for grabbing some screenshots and making reference to. So anyway, with that, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.